Well, hello, folks. Happy Friday. So we're here seeing our friend Joe at Just Mopar Joe's shop here in Arkansas, and we brought him some parts, and we got to see all the progress on the Cuda. So I highly recommend, if you want to see a car being transformed, Joe has literally transformed this car. You need to watch the series. I believe we've got, what, 3 or 4 parts on the series, Joe?
Just getting started.
He's just getting started, but just to recap, I've had this car since I was 14 years old, I think. Dad bought it in 1986. We got it from the original owner. Well, the original owner had passed away, but that's another story. It came from an estate. But we're actually getting to see what was under this car from 1968. And if you watch Joe's series, you'll get to see, as he takes this thing down, the things, I guess, that happened to it over its life. So we did bring, we brought new grills. We brought trim for the trunk. We brought several trim pieces that I could just go on and on. But if you come around the car, he is literally taking this thing down to bare metal. And it's phenomenal, the job that he's done. This car, if you've ever seen it when it was in our shop, had door dings and all these little spots right here. It was never in a wreck. It was never, that we know of anyway, never in any kind of altercation. It was bought by a gentleman in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've got the paperwork. He traded a 58 Chevrolet in on this car. I think they gave him $300 for his trade-in. And it sat in a parking lot. And it had door dings, big door dings everywhere. But I was really afraid that when Joe got down into this thing that, man, I just know we're going to have to put quarters on it. That's just usually what you find in one of these old 60s cars. But as Joe took it down, he found that this is all the original sheet metal on this car. And he has literally gone in and taken these. He's still in the process of taking several dings and everything out. But if you've got to really watch his series. I would be here all day trying to explain everything he's done. But if you come around, he's already got the high spots out. He's just getting started on, well, not getting started. He's done a ton of work. But if you watch his series again, you'll see where he's gone in and sandblasted and ground and come down on all kinds of just imperfections that the car had. This car is going to have a Gen 3 Hemi stroker with an overdrive transmission and a QA1 suspension. It's going back to the original 68 Matador Red. And that's kind of what we wanted. I want the car back to its original, at least color and theme. So as you come around, we just got this wheel, just one of Joe's drag racing tires, I think, for his 68 Cuda. Right, Joe? Do you use it on your 68 Cuda?
Yeah, that was my drag radials.
So also Joe has a really bad to the bone purple 68 Barracuda fastback that he races. You got to see it. He races for points and he kicks some butt. But anyway, you come around and you can see where he's just gone through. He didn't really have to get into the lead or anything like that on the roof. The old car was just as solid as it could be. But the dings were really terrible. So Joe, tell us about the dings and the things that you had to work on and get out of this car.
It's still a mystery how they got there. I still think it's like a shotgun Barracuda or something. Someone had peppered the side a bunch of times and whatever, but little by little they're coming out. And it's straight. This is only this preliminary prime, so this is like a direct to metal that will kind of preserve it while I'm working on other parts of the car. And I can do body work over this, or I can take it all the way back down and do body work and then respray it. But I think my plan now is, since it's primed this much, I can do a light guide coat, block the whole thing, fix my other little spots, come back and then do my 2K, which will be, a couple of coats of primer, and reblock that. Then I'll have a better base to
nice
to paint on. So.
Joe, what I've noticed is a lot of this work that you've done in getting the body back, the lines of the car are coming back, and you never really, a lot of these cars, they had beauty lines to them.
Yeah.
And your work is already, if you look here along the quarter panel, they're coming back. And you come here, you see where the back of the quarter panel is here, and it goes back on the door. Yeah. Those are the things that stick out and make one of these cars look so cool. Mm-hmm. And that's really what one of the biggest things I was looking for. And we've got so you've seen our 69 Charger we have on our channel. that car went through a rotisserie, but it was a basket case. We picked that car up in West Virginia back in 2003, and when they went through, it had to be bee blasted. And when they bee blasted that car, it was like I didn't have anything left of the car. It literally had to be reskinned, as you can imagine. Most of those cars have to go through. And, you know, I've been through that, and I was so worried that I'd have to do this on this car. But Joe, when he came and did his preliminary inspection on the car, he said, I think the whole car is actually pretty solid. And sure enough, it was. Now, that does not say he didn't have a lot to work to do, like he said on the shotgun Barracuda part. Dings were all over it was a great 20-footer, I would say. My dad and I repainted it back in the 90s, but we were not good. We were not body and paint people. It was a cool color. It was actually 2000 Plymouth Prowler red, and it had an orange hue, and it was really cool. But the Matador red is really what I want because it's such a prettier color. Joe's going to reinstall, once he gets all this done, he's going to reinstall the factory black straps that go on the side. He's going to go, now we do have I call it a six-pack hood, and it's going to go back to like a satin black to match the stripes on the car. It's getting a QA1 suspension once we get it back from Joe. And you're going to see a lot of YouTube videos on this car once Joe's done. But really, to really watch this, I highly recommend going to Joe's channel, Just Mopar Joe. I go back and I look at him all the time. Trish gets on to me because I've got the TV watching his channel, watching the car. But anyway, there's just so much work that he's done. All of the trim pieces, if you see that we spent a lot of money on getting the grills redone, and I'm just going to let Joe put those in, and I'm going to get them out. So you'll see when he puts everything back together. Mm-hmm. But a lot of pieces. This is a car that we're going to drive, and you know, if I wanted a show car, I'd just buy the painting and put it on the wall. I think we always want a show car. We did that with the Charger. It's got its typical not door dings, but a little chip here and there, right? I'm going to drive it. I'm going to drive this too. So I highly recommend. There's a lot to learn from the content of what's going on with this car. We started off with a video of how to prepare your car for paint before Joe got it. And Trish and I took and removed all of the grills, the bumpers, and tried to do as much as we can to make this not easy, but so Joe didn't have to do, I would say, non-value added work. I'd call that non-value added when he's trying to disassemble everything. There were still some things he did have to take apart. He had to take the trim off around the windshield, the rear windshield. Yeah. He had to take the door.
Drip rails.
He had to take the drip rails off. Joe, how hard was that to get all that stuff off?
It wasn't terrible after I went through and started, but you got to be really, really, really careful.
Absolutely.
And it's nerve-wracking more than anything because if you just take your time. But
yeah,
what everything you all did saved me so much time and headache.
Good.
You know, because you know, just like me, I went through and went ahead and dollied some of these out because they were bent from having to
take the grills out.
Yeah.
Pulling
that apart.
On these 67 and 69 Barracudas, they almost have like a riveting device behind them, and it's very hard to get those out, especially they've been in there since 1968. So when we get back to that part, I believe we have the fasteners for him. If not, we'll get them for him. There's a few things I've got to purchase that he's going to need, but nothing's slowing him down right now. He's trucking right along.
Yeah.
So again, you know, we had the engine out of it. Transmission was still in it, but Joe got that out, and Joe's going to remove the roll cage it has in it because it's going back to the streets. Getting unrace card by Joe. Right. Joe's just done an un-Hemi swap on his Challenger. We're doing a Hemi swap in the Cuda. So anyway, Joe, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think like my next steps are pull the fenders, pull the doors. We'll do the jams all correctly, and then get that cage out while the doors are off because it takes a lot to get that out. So. It takes a lot to get that out. So anyway, we just want to make this video real quick. I'm not going to make it too long. We got to get out of Joe's hair because he's got other customers and lots of projects. He's got to go drag racing this weekend too. So go watch him drag race. I love watching him race. But you're going to race your Cuda this weekend. Yep. But he's got a truck. I'm going to have to try to talk him out of his truck, his blue truck. So one of these days. It's just a cream puff.
It's a really cool truck. So I hope everybody has a good Friday. And I just want to share this with everybody. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thank y'all. But out.